What's up, guys? Welcome to the next episode of Clay's Cortex, the podcast. So I'm actually pretty excited to kind of get into what we're going to be talking about today. It's kind of relevant at some of the topics I wanted to talk about, but today we're going to be talking about peace, finding peace in the midst of chaos, or finding peace in chaos. So I think this is pretty pertinent right now, because of what we got going on with COVID-19 and everything that's going on. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and some tactics that I've used over the years with stressful situations and life, and what I've found has helped me during those times. All right, so let's kind of get into it. So we obviously know that there's the whole coronavirus or COVID-19 going on. Everybody across the country, the world's being impacted. We're all stuck in our houses and so forth. But we all see this as like a time of turmoil, a time of distress and so forth. But I want to also come from the flip side of this, right? Because if you go on Instagram and Facebook and so forth, everybody's posting about how, oh my gosh, I got to get out of the house, I got to do all these things. I'm personally somebody that likes to get out. I like to interact with people, hence why I do what I do for my job. I love interacting with people, talking to people on a regular basis, and gift of gab, I guess you can say, is something that I'm good at. I really don't like to speak unless I have something pertinent or something serious to say, but during these times, the people that are introverted are like, hey, I'm cool, I'm just kicking it. People that are extroverted are like stressing out, freaking out. So whether you're more of an introvert or extrovert, hopefully this can encourage you. So I think that through and during these times where we're quarantined, having to stay at home, if you haven't taken a chance to step back and think about some of the things that you would take for advantage or take for granted every single day, is some of the things of like, hey, I'm just going to call my friend and go meet up with him. Hey, I'm going to go grab a coffee. You know what? I kind of want a burger from this place. I'm going to get a burger. You know what? I'm going to go run to Target real quick and get something from Target, whatever it may be. We don't have those luxuries now. We have to be much more strategic. Now, when it comes to being able to meet up with somebody or some friends or so forth, we used to be able to do that on a whim, right? Just like, I'm going to go do this and meet with them. We can't do that now. Now, there's this thing here in Seattle called the Seattle Hello. And if you're from Seattle or the Washington area, you might already know what this is. But it's kind of like this, say you see a friend you haven't seen for a while, or say you're like, hey, let's meet up, let's get together, right? And you text back or you call back, like, yeah, let's set that up. Let's set that up for sure. Super excited, right? I'll text you or call you when we're going to do that. And what typically happens is the person or the plans just fall through, right? And they call it the Seattle Hello, where it's like, I made the effort, but you really didn't make the effort. Well, now, with what's going on, we have to make a conscientious effort to communicate and keep in touch with those that we love, care about, and so forth. And we have to make an effort of doing FaceTime, putting that time aside, getting on a phone call. It's being able to actually, set up a Zoom meeting if you're a part of an organization or whatever it is. We have to make much more effort to communicate and talk to people. And the funny thing is that it just shows that text messaging is not enough. It's not enough. We need to communicate and talk to people face to face. That's the beauty of communication. That's the beauty of relationships. So during this time of chaos, hopefully it's starting to open people's eyes and open our eyes about how important it is for us to interact with people straight up, face to face, no distractions. Hopefully we can start to realize that. Like, if I step into my wife's shoes right now, right, like, it's kind of a running joke in our house. Obviously, I'm filming this from our house, but she's been in quarantine for 3+ months or more, right, because she hasn't been able to go anywhere with Honor or do anything because his immune system is super, super low, right? He's a baby, right? He's only 3 months now. And so she's been in this rhythm of quarantine for a while, right? It's kind of a running joke. But we get into quarantine, we're locked down for a couple weeks, and we start freaking out, right? During this time, and when you have stressful times in your life, there's only a few things that I want to recommend to you that can help you take back control when you feel like things are out of control. When there's chaos or you're in a storm, and how to essentially turn that around and take that as a moment or a divine moment to be able to look back and be like, okay, things are okay, I'm in control of my emotions, I'm in control of my attitude, and so forth. So a couple things, and one thing I want to talk about, I got it from a book I read for baseball growing up. It's called Heads Up Baseball. And so this book really talks about how to slow down the game of baseball, because if you make an error, you make a mistake, or you miss a sign, or you swing at a bad pitch, or whatever it is, you start to spin out of control. And the whole book talks about how to play the game one pitch at a time. And it also talks about how, in the book, one thing I took away from that was how to find your focal point. And a focal point is something that can help recenter you, get you back focused. So I got the definition of focal point right here. Let me read it to you. There's two definitions, but I'll give you the one below. So focal point, it's a noun, but the center of interest or activity. And so that one stuck out to me in this definition because in baseball, if you ever made a mistake, you made an error, whatever it is, like I'm pretty hard on myself. My wife knows that about me. I'm pretty hard on myself. But which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but give yourself some grace. But anywho, if I make a mistake in baseball or whatnot, I always had to have, and this book talked about having a focal point. So being able to go to that point of focus, forget what just happened, and move forward from there, right? How to almost recenter yourself and put yourself back in a place of like, okay, I'm in control, things are okay, let's progress and step forward. And so for me, I didn't really need a focal point a lot when I played defense. My focal point was on my glove. So my glove, we couldn't use any other brand besides Easton, which back in the day, Easton's gloves were not good. So one thing I did as a workaround, and Coach might not have known this, but I took some scissors. And on my Rawlings glove, I cut off all the labels, right, blacked it out, and then took a batting glove from Easton, cut out the logo, and then glued that to my glove. And so that was actually my focal point, was my Easton logo on my Rawlings glove when I played defense. And then when I was hitting, a focal point for me was essentially, if I played at a field, we always knew that there was a left field or a right field foul pole, always. And so since I was a right-handed hitter, I would hit from the left side of the batter's box, but I was a right-handed hitter. And so if I missed a sign, took a swing at a bad pitch, I would look to the left field corner, past coach, so that if I knew he was giving signs, I wasn't going to miss those, and then I could look up at my focal point and recenter. So during these times of stress, chaos, where you feel like you're starting to get out of control or things are not in your control, I would encourage you to find a focal point, right? A big focal point for me, if I'm going to be real, is my relationship with God, right? Being able to talk to Him, pray with Him has been huge. Another focal point that I have is my wife, Jackie. She has been one of the most consistent, how do I put this? She's been the most consistent person I've ever met in my life. Even when she's frustrated or down, she's still a rock for me here on earth. And I do the same for her when it's flip-flopped. And trust me, we're going through it with Honor in his sleep, and he's leaping right now. And if you don't know what that is, go look up the book, The Wonder Weeks. It'll give you a little insight into what leaps are. But if you don't have a kid, it probably doesn't matter. Anywho, if you're an aunt and uncle, check that book out. Being able to find a focal point to help recenter yourself. Having conversations with Jackie and talking with her and be able to communicate with her has helped keep me sane and centered. And along with that too, because I like to help people and reach out to people, that's a part of what I do. I'm in a service business of helping people with their musculoskeletal issues, right? And how to control their bodies better, get stronger, help athletes become more athletic so they can get scholarships. And I think that right now, I feel like a part of who I am has been taken away. But it's helped me recenter into the aspect of my main goal is really just to help people in any capacity. That's really my passion. I am obsessed with the body. But I think that this has been a great opportunity for me to refocus and recenter on what are the things that are really important, right? I obviously know that my family, my wife, my kids, our family unit is crucial, right? My extended family. And then along with that too, the relationships I've built with the people that I've trained who are family and checking in with them and seeing how they're doing. And then along with that too, being able to still give back to people with like this podcast, being able to help nurture people that way, to also educate people. I've got an online thing for training that I'm doing that people can do to take care of their bodies, and hopefully the exercise portion can be a focal point for them, because we know that exercise can help you stay mentally sane, right? So being able to move, our bodies are meant to move. We're creatures of movement, and when we lose the ability to move, when we can't move in our environment, we tend to not survive anymore. So movement's crucial. So I guess what the first thing is, what I would do is find yourselves a focal point, Find something during this chaotic time that can help recenter you, help refocus you. It might be a walk. Go for a walk. It might be that you're going to read a book for a bit. It might be that you're going to have some tea and sit in silence. It might be that you're going to listen to an audiobook or a podcast. Hopefully you're listening to this podcast. But yeah, I think that during these times, we've got to be able to find a focal point. And if this has never been presented to you, I hope that you can run with it, right? Take a moment back, write it down, and think about what are some things that help get me or help me feel centered. Help me feel like I'm back in control when things are getting out of control. And as we know in this nation, and you look at all the memes, all the jokes on Instagram, people are drinking non-stop right now. Non-stop, because they think I've got all this time, and I've got any responsibilities, I'm gonna, drink my sorrows away and frustrations. That's not good for you. It's not healthy, right? That is not a good focal point. You've got to find a focal point that's going to feed back into you and nourish you and help you get recentered. We all know that alcohol does not center you, right? If I'm going to get nerdy with it, it takes you out of your homeostasis. It makes you feel drunk. It makes you feel tipsy. You don't feel good. The next day you got to recover. It's not good for your body. Find something during this time. And then along with that too, it's going to suppress your immune system. We're fighting a virus here, right? Anywho, we've got to find something that's healthy for us to help us recenter, all right, in these stressful times. So along with that too, let me look at my notes real quick. But again, just going back to what really matters, right? During these times of chaos, it helps us almost like shake us up and figure out what is really important to us. What are the things that are crucial for us to be able to thrive within this entire world or within our life? I think a few things that people are starting to realize is like, wow, this family time is super crucial. Wow, I'm out of touch with my kids. Wow, I'm out of touch with my wife. I'm out of touch with being in rhythm. I've been so locked into doing whatever I do, which might be a hobby or your work, and you've jumped into that full bore, but you're leaving the things out that are most important. And I hope that during this time it's a divine appointment to give you an idea of like, wow, these things are really important to me. My family, the priorities of feeding my kids, feeding my wife, being able to feed myself, being able to think about what are the things that are important and recentering back on those things. Times like these are a great chance and opportunity for us to actually refocus and center on things that are important. A lot of us are focused on material things. We're focused on things that don't really matter. But when push comes to shove, the things that really do matter, you got to write those things down, right? Because where your treasure is where you're going to spend your time, right? Wherever you devote the most time that you have, wherever you devote most of your time, that's where your passion is. That's where your heart is. And it's got to be flip-flopped, right? Like I know a job, like with work, right? Like when it comes to work, you have to work to provide for your family, right? You've got to grow something, have a solid career, so forth, to be able to provide for your family. That's security, super important. But when you have that time with your family, like right now, my wife and I were talking about this, right? And she's like, when are we ever going to have this amount of time as a family together again? When are we? And it's like I was like, never. I don't know if this will ever happen again in history. I hope that it doesn't, right? Because it's impacting people in a lot of negative ways. But it was a good chance to be like, we're not going to have this opportunity again, right? Because like I said in one of the earlier podcasts, time, and also on the post on Instagram, time is the most precious commodity that all of us have here on this earth. And every time we wake up, every time we breathe, every minute that goes by, we can't get that time back. And so being able to be, thoughtful, purposeful with the time that we have with our families is crucial right now. We got to take advantage of that. Being able to actually self-reflect and be like, you know what? Do I really want to do that job? Do I really want to spend my time wasting my time doing this? Wow, look how much more I've gotten done now. The amount of posts I see from people I train of like, man, we've got all these projects done around the house. And I'm like, dude, that's super tight. Because they're taking advantage of that time. It's crucial. Everything takes time. It's the most precious commodity. It's something you cannot get back. And I know that financially a lot of us are freaking out, right? Like some people, like I've got some families that have lost their jobs. It's stressful times. And we can always get another job. We can always make more money. We can always work to do that. But time is something you can never earn more of, right? Almost like that Justin Timberlake movie called In Time. Pretty wild movie, right? They would work to get paid in time to stay alive and so forth, and they donate time. It's pretty crazy. So hopefully with this, you guys can start to think about what are some things that I can control during this chaotic time. And I don't want to miss these. What are some things you control? You can control your attitude. You can control whether you're going to operate or act in joy and happiness every single day. You can you can also choose to go the opposite direction, act in a way of like, I'm just pissed off, I'm frustrated all the time, I can't work, I can't go do what I want to do, I have this, it's not even a vacation, I'm on lockdown, like people are locking me down. Your attitude is something you can control, right? Look at this, flip this from a perspective of like, wow, what a beautiful time that I can spend time with people. What a great time that I can just call somebody on the drop of a dime and say, hey, I haven't talked to you in a while, how you doing, buddy? I had a great FaceTime talk with my iron sharpener, Ryan Williams, and we went on these talks about, the meaning of time and so forth, and it was really cool, really deep, but I won't get into that. Maybe I'll do another podcast, but that's something that you can focus on. But you've got to think about, what are the other things that you can control? Can I go to bed on time? Can I eat in a healthy manner? Can I hydrate myself? What are the things that you can do to impact your attitude? Can I exercise every single day? Can I exercise every other day? Can I go for a walk? Can I get some fresh air? Right? The beautiful thing is that the weather is somewhat decent here in Washington. It has been raining a whole bunch, so we can at least go out for walks, enjoy that, right? 6 feet though, keep that 6 feet, 2 arm lengths, I think it is. So maintain that, obviously, but during these times, you've got to find something that's going to help keep you centered. Find your focal point. And along with that too, work on it every single day of like, this focal point's really helping fill me back up. And then along with that too, think about, what is my attitude, right? My godfather used to say this, and when he passed when I was 19, that was a rough time for me. I had to find a focal point. During that time I was angry, I was frustrated. My godmother gave me this shirt that a local bank in Texas, near Texas Tech, made, and he used to say this to his players every single day because he coached football there at Texas Tech. And he'd say, what's your attitude today? And I think, so I had the shirt, right? When I first got it, it was XL Under Armour shirt, quality shirt. It was great. I wore that shirt under my jersey every single baseball game. It was my only shirt I wear. I mean, I think I have an undershirt on or something like that, but I would wear that shirt every game. I guess if you called me superstitious, that was my superstition. But looking back at it and looking at that shirt, and it hangs on the wall at the kiln, that's something we have control of. Is if I'm going to wake up and when my feet hit the ground, what is my attitude going to be today? Am I going to operate in joy? Am I going to be optimistic? Am I going to be hopeful? What am I going to do? Because what I've noticed here, for example, let me give you a tangible example. My attitude at the house, and if I can be real, it's tough not going in and working with the people because I'm worried about them. Some of the older clients I work with, I want to make sure they're moving physically well and so forth. And so with that being said, when I first found out that we were in lockdown, right? A gym or a facility that approaches exercise in a way of maintaining your muscular system is not seen as essential here in Washington, which is fine. I totally get that. I'm going to abide by the law. We're going to do that. I was frustrated. So I went upstairs, went to the office, came back downstairs, and I was like, Jackie, this is what I'm going to do. I've had this online thing built out for a while. It's time for it to launch. I just need another tier of it. Tier. Like, there was tailored program, and now I've got one to where it's inclusive, where it's anybody can participate. And so it's a program you can follow along with. And she looked at me and was like so proud of me. Because the thing that I controlled was I went from like, I was frustrated. What am I going to do with that frustration? I went upstairs, sat down, I prayed, and then my focal point essentially helped clear me to be able to make a decision to still help the people I want to help in a way to where I can talk to them every single day with a custom, tailored, or the inclusive program. So I came downstairs, she was proud of me, right? So my attitude since then has given me a different focus of I can still pour into my people on a daily basis. It's just going to look a little bit different. But if I was to mope around and be pissed off and frustrated and so forth, this probably wouldn't have happened. And so along with that too, the environment in the house based off probably my moodiness, would not have been good. And this time at home probably wouldn't have been the best for Jackie or the kids. So I'm just glad that I was able to find my focal point, rely on that, and then get recentered. Because what it's done is help change the trajectory of this time off. It's helped me focus on the things that really do matter. My family, being able to eat, right? Because Instacart's going on strike, anyways, that's another topic, but maybe they're not. There's hints of it, right? But during this time of uncertainty, being able to focus on things that really do matter, which is my family, my relationship with my wife, my relationship with my kids, and like this time that I have with Honor to be able to be home this amount of time in these 3 months, what a blessing, right? And to be able to unload Jackie as best I can with the stressful times we've got with him, because he's leaping. And again, if you don't know what that is, look up Wonder Weeks. It's a real thing. Also, just another tangent, a documentary on Netflix called Babies. Super interesting, by the way. But I digress. So I guess with this episode, even though we're in chaotic times, you've got to find a way to find peace and comfort during those times. So I encourage you to find a focal point. And if you have questions about tips and things to do to find a focal point, please reach out to me. Let me know. If you need help with like, hey, I need a focal point, or what are some tips you would do to help find one that works for me, or if you're looking for essentially, hey, what should I first do? First thing you got to do, if I can be honest, is say and realize that you need a focal point. You need something to help center you, because we all do. There's times in our lives where things are not in our control, and we have to find a way to recenter ourselves. So with that being said, I hope that this podcast can help encourage you during this time of chaos to find a strategic way to give yourself peace and comfort during this time. And the cool thing about that too is during these times of chaos, it promotes growth within us. It promotes adaptation within us. And so we can come out of these situations in a much better, stronger position because of the amount of time that we have to focus on those things to help make ourselves better. So hopefully this encouraged you guys. Thank you for listening. Check me out on Instagram, Clay's Cortex. And then along with that too, I'll keep posting on there, but check out the other ones too, Curtis Clay Training _ the Kiln. And then now that online training option, look up muscular system treatment, or you can go to muscularsystemtreatment.com. The website's now live and it looks good. But thanks for listening to this episode of Clay's Cortex, the podcast, finding peace in the chaos. I'll see you guys next time.